Reach their sunset years for communication to become difficult. Confusion sets in, and sometimes both they and their loved ones can become frustrated.
That's right. So joining us is Jodi Thomas from Quail Ridge Assisted Living Center with advice for family members. Jodi, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you.
You know, I think a lot of times people just assume if maybe their loved ones are becoming confused that it has to do with memory loss. But there are a lot of other physical reasons why communication can become difficult.
Yes, absolutely, for sure. And we're going to talk about a few of them. The first one is hearing loss. You know, if you can't hear somebody, how hard is that?
What did you say?
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to look at you directly.
Yes.
One of the things that we can do in helping that is to look at somebody directly when you're speaking to them and speak clearly and slowly, not in a disrespectful or demeaning way, but kind of slow down just a little bit and make that eye contact. Another thing that we forget about a lot of times is if you're having a meal, make sure and chew and swallow that food before you try and talk to them, because it becomes
muffled and garbled.
Yeah,
That's right.
And it's even been scientifically proven that as we age, we lose some of that hearing range.
Yes,
I mean, you might hear every other tone or every other syllable, and then now your brain starts going because you're trying to piece together the conversation and trying to think about what they might have said rather than be able to, hear what they actually said.
You are absolutely right. A lot of times, folks that I work around, they may not understand my voice tone, but they might understand yours, Matt, on the lower register.
It seems like it's harder to understand women's voices a lot of times for people as their hearing goes.
Yes.
Now, compounded onto the hearing, we also have vision loss. So they can't hear you and they can't see you very well.
You know, and a lot of times we come in and you want to be offended. Well, how come they didn't know who I was? They can't see you. Don't take it personal. You know, don't take it personal. Be understanding. Be patient. And know that someday, some of these things are going to happen to you and me too.
Yeah, maybe already happening to us as we speak. And so when you talk to these people, you have to understand, you have to empathize, you have to say, you know what, there might be a little bit of confusion in what you're trying to communicate. And I'll bet you it's just as frustrating on their end, because it doesn't mean they're not as sharp or intelligent as they once were. It's just that their brain is working in a different way, and they're trying to piece together that conversation.
Having physical decline, your hearing, your vision, and memory loss. Like you just said, memory loss is very common in aging, and different degrees of memory loss. So it's difficult for them to maybe remember a recent event or something that's occurred, and we think, well, it just happened yesterday, or it just happened. It's different as you age.
Well, and also one thing I hadn't realized is even the vocal cords and the voice can become weakened as we age, and so even just trying to express yourself becomes difficult.
Yes, that voice becomes quieter and softer, as we age. If we've ever talked to your grandma, and that voice is softer, and maybe it's just because she's sweet and she loves you, but a lot of times it's a physical decline.
We had an Uncle Floyd who was in an assisted living facility who had a stroke, and it was frustrating for him because he was still thinking as fast as he used to, but his mouth was not responding to what he wanted to say, and he would get very frustrated trying to have a conversation because he knew what he wanted to say, he knew what he wanted to communicate, but because of that physical barrier, he couldn't. It was so frustrating. So we just need to have that empathy towards him, don't we?
And slow down a little bit. Don't be quick to assume what's happening. Take some time.
Okay, really quickly, we also need to remember that sometimes the elderly want to talk about things in the past, and it can be a little frustrating for us. Maybe give them a little bit of time to relive some of those memories.
Listen and respect, because our lives are different today than they were then. Respect that. Also, one thing I want to point out is when you're speaking to elderly and being respectful, avoid using pet names. Avoid sweetheart and darling and love and those kind of things. Call them by name. Give them that respect.
Those pet names are for them, for you, not you for them. Okay.
Yes. Honey, sweetheart, those kind of things. Call them by name. Give them the respect they've earned.
Jodi Thomas, thank you so much for sharing this. This is important information.
Thank you.
Thanks.